Yeah, this is not usually what I do on this channel. You know, I like to prefer to make movies on it. But, you know, I decided I'd make a game review. You know, like JonTron and Peanut Butter Gamer, Cat Icarus, and about half the bloody internet. But I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. We'll talk about some Xbox games, because no one seems to. You know, it's a good console. One of my personal favourites, Midtown Madness 3. It's a classic racing game for me. What can I say? So, should we see if it's still any good? Let's rip into it. Midtown Madness 3's legacy is an interesting one. It started life as Midtown Madness, an open-world racing game for the PC. It was developed by Angel Studios, who now go by the name Rockstar San Diego. You've probably never heard of them. And was published by Microsoft in 1999. It was met with positive reviews, as were the sequels, Midtown Madness 2, the same game with new locations and more cars, and Midtown Madness 3, redefined the open-world race genre. Or so I think. But anyway, let's move on. In December 2002, March 2003 in Japan, Midtown Madness 3 was released as an exclusive Xbox title and a pack-in game with certain versions of the Xbox sold, and the first 3D game I ever played. At the time, I had a Sega Mega Drive, and I was pretty happy with it. But when I played the Xbox, it blew my balls off of how amazing it looked.
This ain't your mama's Sonic the Hedgehog or Rise of the Robots. It's mind-blowing real life.
It was developed by Digital Illusions CE, or DICE.
See what they did there?
And once again published by Microsoft. The entire game was given a graphical overhaul for the Xbox, and made to look better than, that. The gameplay was practically the same, however. Complete objectives in an open-world environment, whether a race or a collectathon. You were given 2 faithful recreations of Washington DC and Paris to play around in. You were also given 5 cars to use in cruise, blitz, and checkpoint races at the start of the game, but more on that later. When you first start up the game, you can choose single race, work undercover, multiplayer, and other stuff. You want to know about that other stuff? You don't need to know about that other stuff. Let's start with work undercover. This is basically the career mode of the game. It's fairly complicated, so pause if you need to. You do various objectives for various people as a special agent in Paris and a PI in Washington DC to solve 2 different cases. The kidnapping of a German racing driver,
I'm DISCLAMIER.
in Paris, and something about the hotshot directors Michael and Stefano Tortellini in Washington DC. In these modes, you will have to face rivals. In the DC, it's Angelina, no one likes her, and Matilda. Don't even get me started on that bitch. In one of the first missions, she tries to kill you with a freaking semi-truck. And she's smug too.
Looks like we're both working for Mr. Hysteria, which is good for me and bad for you.
I don't think so, Matilda.
There are 2 kinds of missions in Work Undercover. Run through or stop in zones, and races. There's a good balance between them, so it doesn't get monotonous.
Oh no, I'm going into circles. I wish there was more things to do.
There's other kinds, but I won't go into detail. The whole mode is pretty easy to finish. I mean, I finished it back then, so it can't be that hard. Let's move on. Single race, there's good times to be had here. There are 3 options: cruise, blitz, and checkpoint. Blitz races are point-to-point races with a time limit, and checkpoint races are the same thing with opponents and no time limit. And finally, we get to cruise mode, a personal favorite of mine. It's exactly what it sounds like. You can do anything. You can choose between 4 seasons, spring, summer, autumn and winter. You can choose between night, morning, day and sunset, and how many cops, pedestrians and the amount of traffic, plus rain, shine and snow. The cars behave differently in the different weathers and seasons.
It's all too much!
There's a lot to choose from, but I'm disappointed. They could add more seasons, you know, like hunting season, shopping season, Jupiterian spring. You could have more times a day, like you choose the hour and the minute and the second. But, you know, those other options are okay. Besides the cruising, you can find paint jobs. They give cars special paint jobs. The catch is you must be driving the car the paint job is for. For example, that paint job over there is for the Chrysler PT Turbo. I need to get into the PT Turbo to get it. and some of these paint jobs are very hard to get. But when you do it, you're on top of the world. There are also free paint jobs marked question mark, question mark, question mark, and question mark. These are secret cars, and they are a chore to get. They are located at the Tortoli's apartment in DC, by the river in Paris, and somewhere over and way over far. The cars are called the ASP, the Serpent Mark II, and the Serpent Mark V. I can't show you footage of me driving them because I haven't unlocked them yet because it's really hard. One of my favourite things about this game is the Easter eggs. There's just so many of them. A lot of them are really subtle. And here's one, a subtle one that you can try at home. In the mission, Kleinman's arrival at the chauffeur in Paris, you're tasked with picking up Kleinman and taking him to his hotel. But if you pick him up and don't take him to his hotel, let the timer run out, this happens. It's a clever little humorous thing that developers put in. I like it. In conclusion, it's a great racing game, and a must-own for racing and Xbox fans. It isn't backwards compatible with the Xbox 360, however, so you'll need to buy an original Xbox to play this one. It's got solid gameplay, great graphics. Only downside that I didn't talk about is very multiplayer orientated. Most of the fun game modes are on Xbox Live multiplayer. It's like this game predicted the future. If you're a person that needs a rating, it gets a solid 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and have a pleasant tomorrow.